I'm not doing the promo. No, not doing the promo. I'm just too excited. I want to dance to some Highline pipes. Yes. I think Fontana wants me to dance. Fontana, you still here? I'm going to get Keith and Richie in the kilt here and going to get some dancing going on here. Yes. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. This is the Morning Loop Reloaded. The first 15 minutes of the hour to get your day started, to get your ass out of bed, to help you achieve those big, audacious goals. We just wrapped up the first hour with Ford Dyke. We talked performance. Man, the guy dropped nuggets, eh, Johnny?
You know, I just got to say, so just the name Ford Dyke is cool as hell. Right?
I know.
It sounds like a fucking name that was given to him for a movie or a television show.
Yes.
And I say this with love, Ford. Then the motherfucker shows up on camera and he looks like he's fucking dressed in a costume that's even fucking cooler than his name. Like, Jesus Christ, is this guy for real?
Total package.
And then he comes in and he's just filled with all this fucking cool substances. What fucking planet is this guy? Like a fucking Martian we just haven't discovered? There's a whole different race of people that are cool as hell and full of really cool things to say. He is the shit, man. Or if you're listening, you got it going on, baby.
I agree. Richie, you called him a guru. I knew when I said to Christina, we got to get Ford on the show because Richie and Johnny haven't met Ford yet. You guys are going to have some, holy fuck, who is this dude? He's a cool motherfucker. And he's a pickleball.
I want to meet up with him for coffee. I grew up right outside of Auburn.
Yeah.
There for Christmas. Okay. So, yeah.
And the thing I love too is that he controls his environment. Yes. With this almost like subtle borderline silence. And it's this it's Jesus Christ. This motherfucker has got to go. You got to go in every single way it's possible.
He had command and control by saying nothing. Not too many people can do that. By saying nothing, he controlled what was going on. Like, it was amazing.
The fucking name like that, a fucking beard like that, a hairdo like that, and the fucking shit, the things he said. Fucking A, man, it's pretty clear to see how he could do it, why he could do it. I love it, man.
And he's a professor. Cool. He's a professor, and so I'm sure his students.
Did you say doctor at one point?
Yes,
the motherfucker, and I say this with love. The motherfucker's a doctor on top of all that. Jesus Christ, what else is in there?
Marty's gonna have to watch out, man. I don't know if Ford's in a relationship or not, but there might be some ladies just waiting for Ford to become available if he's not available. Between Ford and Marty,
Anderson's getting a boner right now.
I tell you, I fucking really enjoy meeting people that have taken, because it's like he's when I say presence, it's everything. Because you meet people all the time and they're really good here, but they fucking suck here, and you could spot this shit. He's just taken and created this thing. And it's really easy to spot.
What I love about Ford is that we always talk about being authentic, and really the dude is as authentic as can be.
Yeah, that's it right there. He doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks, and that's fucking awesome, dude.
Because he knows his shit.
Yeah.
So when you know your shit, Johnny, you, Richie, when you know your shit, you're able to be this.
When you know your shit, you can talk about your shit and not give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. So.
No, I'm talking about literally talking about your shit, like on the toilet shit, and not give a shit. You know?
So it's interesting because it's clear then that I have permission from my co-host. We're going to have Ford back on the show, don't we?
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, he's dropping nuggets. All right, so yesterday, boys, we leaned into things that society judge men on being too perhaps feminine and not masculine enough. And I wanted to continue with the list here. So the topic, just to be really clear on, is that men reveal the things they truly enjoy that are often unmasculine, is what this article refers to. And yesterday we talked about everything that we all do on this show, but skincare, we talked about crocheting and knitting, growing and getting flowers, taking the backseat on paperwork, braiding hair, crying and expressing emotion, cocktails instead of mocktails, cuddling and subtle acts of love, poetry, long relaxing baths, and the list continues, gentlemen. Richie, men who love to collect stuffed animals. Masculine
stuffed animals. That's an interesting.
But see, here's the thing. Like, I don't know, man. I think masculine or unmasculine, I don't care, but I just go to Hollywood and they're always showing some serial killer that has like a collection of stuffed animals.
Well, because
connotation.
That's crazy is that many times when I would travel, my wife would put something in my bag that I didn't know about. Like, she would hide something in there. And there were times where she would take one of the kids' stuffed animals and put it in there, like a stuffed animal that I gave him, or just something that made me feel close to home. And
that's different.
Yeah. But keep in mind, I'd have that fucking stuffed animal on my bed, and my fucking wrestling buddies would come in. What the fuck is this? This is my fucking stuffed animal. That's my daughter's stuffed animal. Shut the fuck up is what that is.
I love that. I love that. Like that's pretty cool.
Richie, I think we got to get clear though with Johnny on something. Hold on. So Richie, Johnny just told us that his wife was putting stuffed animals in his package bag, in his traveling bags, not underwear, not love letters. Johnny, fucking stuffed animals, like not like
all sorts of. She'd put all sorts of stuff. She'd put fucking notes in there. She'd put things in there that would make me feel like I was closer to home. What we would do, literally, a lot of times before the day I left, because I'd be gone sometimes 3-4 weeks at a time. It was fucking brutal. And what we would do is we would make memories. The day before I left, we'd watch a fucking movie, we'd do something. And I would be taking like songs with me on the road that I had been listening to with my family. When it comes down to it, I think a stuffed animal is what I'm getting at is I think a stuffed animal is representing something. And whether that's a stuffed animal or whatever it is, it's representing something that's close to you, close to your heart. Who gives a shit what it is? Stuffed animal, whatever it needs to be.
That's fair. All right, we're talking unmasculine things that men do that people judge them on. The next one, makeup. Johnny, Richie, do you judge men who wear makeup, and is it unmasculine when we decide to wear makeup?
I come from the fucking world of magazines and TV and Jesus Christ. I've had makeup put on me more times than I can fucking count. But then there are the guys that wear makeup just because they want to look good. Fuck it, that's what floats their boat. Fucking do it.
So the question is, and let's look at this as black and white. Is it unmasculine? Yes, that's unmasculine. Okay, but I don't judge them. Like I give a shit. Guy could glue a lipstick thing to his forehead. I don't give a fuck.
I would say the unmasculine part would be if you're using the makeup to try to look like a female, right? Then you're choosing to use makeup to get away from masculinity versus if you're just choosing to use makeup to make what you feel your masculinity look better. I think it would be the intent of the makeup.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I got it in high school. What was it called? The powder puff, where the chicks play the football and we were the cheerleaders. Yeah, fuck, man, I had the full blown fucking wig. They put makeup over my whole fucking face. It wasn't just the lipstick. I wore that shit full bore, and that was the front end, the very front end. I didn't really have that. I've accepted me yet, so that was going out on a limb at that point. But I think it was helpful. It really was.
I think for me, this is as much reclassifying. So yes, Richie, maybe in the traditional sense of what is masculine, one might say wearing makeup is not. But maybe when we work especially what we're doing here in the lab, which is maybe redefining what masculinity is. I think you're saying it as well, Richie, and Johnny is too. Who the fuck cares if you wear makeup?
Yeah.
If you feel great wearing makeup, good for you. Yeah.
See, I think here's not necessarily an issue, but when we label things, whenever we label things, we are conforming to society. And so that's just how it is. So whenever we say masculine versus unmasculine, the norm when you say that is what society has deemed that.
You are right.
So that's why I try not to label things, because it's who gives a fuck, man? You want to wear some makeup to take away your shine, so when you go out and you look more handsome. Like who the fuck?
Yeah, your label. I agree with you, Rich. Your label should be, "This is fucking me," and if you like it, good. Stay here. If you don't, just do it over there.
It's funny because I was saying to Lauren last week, Johnny and Richie, we're on a TV show now every single day, right? So I'm like, fuck, maybe I should start putting some makeup on, baby. Right, I could teach you. I can put the powder on because sometimes I leave the gym here and I'm all shiny face. But fuck, I don't care because we're in a world of we're trying to grab attention, you're trying to build a business, and if makeup is part of it, then makeup is part of it. Next one, complimenting other guys. Some would say is not masculine. I'm going to offer this first. Oh. Fucking wrong. I'm the first person to tell Rich that I love him. I'm the first person to text Johnny, tell him I love him. I'm the first person to compliment that Rich is looking good. Rich is looking jacked. Speaking of Richie, fuck, Johnny, you got to go look at a picture from Richie back when he was going.
I'm the one who discovered that picture. I was like, who the fuck is that good looking?
No, not the heroine. Like back when Richie was like fucking jacked like me, like a bodybuilder, Johnny. Like Richie was huge.
But we started this whole segment going off on how we were all just complimenting the shit out of our last guest, Ford. we just this whole thing blew out of the water. I mean, you might have thought that I was having a man crush because I was going off so much, but that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel. It's cool as hell. And I'm going to say it.
Yes.
I didn't, when I was growing up, again, like my dad, he wasn't a bad father. He just wasn't around a lot. And I don't think I hugged my dad until after, or said I love you until after high school. Okay. Yeah. That's how my household was. So it's been really difficult for me to make that transition into being more, I don't know, having more empathy because yesterday I had my two best friends in college got married. And I remember I was like, oh, I always felt like the third wheel when they told me. And so I was talking to him on speakerphone yesterday, and Jamie says, hey, we love you. And Rob was like, all right, we love you. And I could feel it inside. I had trouble saying I love you to Rob because I do, man. I would fucking die. I would take a bullet for that guy. Yes. But it does. Yes. When you're talking to a bro, hey, love you, man, that's different than coming out and just straight from the heart, I love you.
Yes.
And so I'm working on it.
Check this out. Another thing too is that I break it down, because when I tell a friend I love him, it's I love you. I take ownership. People are love you. Who the fuck do you love? You know, who's loving? I'm taking ownership. I love you. And granted, I was lucky enough to be in an environment where my parents they had no problem saying they love me. And because I had no problem saying I love them. And once I really became unapologetically okay with myself, I could tell anybody I love them. If they don't I don't say it because I want a response. I say it because this is how I feel.
Yeah. So I don't want to be tangential here. I want to be cognizant of the time that we have. I keep gay people in high regard. And the reason why is because they were born into a society that didn't allow them to be who they are, at least when we were growing up, right? Like I grew up in the deep South in the 80s and 90s. If you were gay, man, you better not tell anybody. You might get hung.
Yes.
And so for a gay person to come out and be completely free with who they are, I have always held that in the highest regard, because I want to be that. I want to look up to them and emulate that, to go on the dance floor and dance like nobody's fucking watching. And I know that their life has been hard, but I do. If there are any gay people that are out there watching, hey, you are setting the example of what other people should emulate, to completely and truly be who you are. And I value that highly.
Richie, I'm going to tell you, Richie. So I got 11 years on you. You're 41. I'm 52. Richie, I was you, man. So I love my dad, love my parents, but my dad didn't express those words that I was so desired to hear, that I love you, so desired to hear it. So it messed a lot of me up through life and trying to figure that out. And I have my son and my two daughters who I use those words often, but I'll tell you, Rich, I've made it a real point. And it took me to probably my late 30s, maybe in around your age, Richie, where I started learning that it was okay to start communicating the way I wanted to communicate. So in many ways, Richie, I'm actually was on your journey. So to hear you communicating the way you communicate right now, I'm like, fuck yeah, because I could see it, because I can relate to it. So it's not uncommon for me now. I'll send a note to Johnny, tell him how I'm feeling about him. It's not uncommon.
100%. I love those fucking, because you even send videos. You don't even text in many cases. And the thing about it, I think when you're truly expressing love and you realize you're expressing love because you want to, and there's no strings attached, that's when it gets easier, because people are like, oh, I told him I loved him. He didn't say anything back. Fuck, are you doing it because you're looking for a response, or are you doing it because you're expressing how you feel? And again, it comes down to are you do you fishing for some sort of affection from someone that do you need something, or are you doing it because you're truly expressing how you feel, because how you feel is how you feel, and you're going to stand by that irregardless of what someone says back.
And Richie, you have one son, right? 2 daughters and a son, right?
That's right. Yeah, I go girl, boy, girl.
Yeah. Girl, boy,
and I kiss that motherfucker. I tell him I love him. I pick him up and swinging him around. I'm never going to see him again. I give that motherfucker so sloppy kisses, and I love his way. And he will, every time I pick him up, he makes sure he kisses me on the cheek or on the nose. Make sure
I love that, because you're doing it, right? Richie, you're changing a habit. Like, you're changing a habit, right?
You're basically changing that generational curse that we talked about not too long ago. That generational curse, we end up passing shit down that are we passing down the shit that we want our kids to do, or are we passing shit down we don't want our kids to do? And so you took your situation, said, you know what, I'm going to fucking change this shit. I'm going to change the pattern. And that's, brother, that's really powerful shit. If more adults would recognize, it was a part of my lifestyle tip the other day, either you're going to heal for your kids or they're going to have to heal from you.
Yeah. Like, Rich, you're doing it. That's why I called you out, man, because you're doing it.
So, yeah.
You know, what was cool, because you talk about masculinity or whatever. I had my son in jiu-jitsu. And so the other day, I guess it would have been 2 days ago, Wednesday, he stops training because he's only 4. He stops, and I was like, hey, buddy. And he was like, I love you. And then he started going again. And I was like,
see? So fuck, man, you lost 3 minutes. Like, you're changing a habit. And what I like about it, Johnny, looking at you, John, is that Richie was doing it and wasn't even aware of it until we brought it up now. Because like, you see the change in your expression, Richie, because you're like, holy fuck, yeah, you're right, because you're changing a habit, because your boy's going to wake up in 10, 15 years from now, and cumulatively, you've taught him what you have missed out on. Right. Yeah. So that to me is fucking powerful stuff. But listen, we're going to keep on this topic next week about these topics that guys feel unmasculine about. But I want to wrap up the next 5 minutes here because I know Richie's got to go and Johnny's got to go. But I want to keep getting to know Richie. I want our audience to keep getting to know Richie.